Hello, and welcome to A Slice of Pie, the semi-weekly news-ish show that we do on this channel. How is everybody doing today? I am dealing with a weird hair day where my hair has decided that it's going to go completely straight, even though it has never done that. So bear with me while I fight with the hair on top of my head. AMD actually decided to show off the new ray tracing capabilities of RDNA 2. They did this in a very weird announcement trailer that looked like it was ripped straight out of the early 2000s. It's like, hey, does anybody in the room actually know how to design characters? And then the one guy from like the early radio days is like, I know how to do it, I guess. The entire thing though is an incredible ray traced, like super reflective chrome future city thing. It honestly looks like it would stress hardware quite a bit. I can't tell if it's actually real-time rendered because, well, AMD never really announced how this whole thing was being captured and worked. Normally there's like a stage presence, you see the computer, you see it running in real time. So realistically, we kind of have to wait and see how this actually plays out. But since we did see real-time ray tracing done on the Xbox Series X using the same parts, we can at least assume that AMD is not lying about having ray tracing capabilities. Speaking of the Xbox Series X, a bunch of YouTubers actually got their hands on it. I'm sure your favorite YouTuber may or may not have actually been able to take it apart, but I am going to link to at least one video from one YouTuber that I particularly liked, where he actually built up the entire Series X, talked about it in detail, and it's just a very interesting console to say the least. But calling it pretty much just a PC in console form is a pretty accurate statement from what I can see. Nvidia is actually delaying their announcements that they were gonna do at GDC. This is because they want everybody's attentions to not be on graphics cards, so they say, and more be on the human malware issue that is currently going on. Now, this could just be Nvidia actually caring, or it just could be that there's an opportunity to use something else as an excuse rather than they didn't necessarily have what they needed to show ready yet. But I mean, there might be something behind Nvidia's word here because they're actually trying to convince people to allow their computers to essentially be used for sort of network computing to try to map out the virus and hopefully help people reverse engineer it and create a vaccine. Speaking of human malware, thank you, Game Nerds Nexus, by the way, for coming up with that term. Speaking of human malware, Razer is actually going to be switching their production to make surgical masks. This is actually one of those really interesting things. I didn't even know that Razer's production company could actually make those, but hey, they're switching their development over to that so that they can specifically help with the supply issues of getting surgical masks right now. Other industries that are transitioning that are actually kind of funny, the late night hosted like comedy shows are moving to YouTube. They've been on YouTube for a while now and you've been able to watch them on YouTube, but they've kind of embraced the stay-at-home nature of their current predicament, and they're actually making their shows from home in a very YouTube-like setting. It's actually kind of funny because like what I'm doing now is about the same level of production quality as some of these shows. Jimmy Fallon actually, his show had like graphics made by his children that were literally like written on a piece of paper and cut out with those safety scissors that have the wavy pattern. Honestly, it's very interesting to see a bunch of these late night shows essentially embrace the YouTube nature of the lockdown. And honestly, you can go look them up. It's actually pretty fascinating to see what they're doing here. All right, let's talk about custom water cooling for a little bit because I love it. I mean, I love it. I actually got more parts in today for a Nova upgrade, and I've got some parts on order that I'm going to be playing around with that are specifically for making the tubes a little bit straighter. But digressing a little bit, custom water cooling is an interesting part of PC building, and we actually got some pretty cool things coming out in that space. EK actually announced and is releasing a distribution plate for the S3, the Define R6, the Define R7, or it's actually the Define 7 or Fractal 7 or whatever it's called, the Meshify S2, and essentially every Fractal case made in the last 2 years that is full ATX and using the exact same tooling. This is kind of awesome because I would have kept that case if there was a distribution plate for it, instead of giving it to GamerGuts. So now I'm kind of disappointed because I'm giving that case to GamerGuts and I won't be able to buy the distribution plate to test it unless I build another PC in that case. But I generally don't like to build like PCs in the same cases because I figure it's not as interesting to watch the same case get built in more than once. Corsair, on the other hand, though, they are making white versions of the Hydro X series, which means you can now get your white Corsair case like the ITX or the ATX Cube, and then have all white parts in it. That being said, Corsair, keep on kind of pushing that. I'm actually debating on what the next PC I build for myself will be. Not really a replacement for Nova, but I know it's going to be a gaming PC that's designed to essentially allow me to capture gameplay to Nova from it. And I'm trying to debate between, am I going to do a water-cooled all Corsair themed PC, a mini ITX PC, or something else? And I honestly don't know what direction I'm going with that yet, but maybe an all white Corsair PC might be kind of cool, not gonna lie. Animal Crossing is out today, so if you guys need a break from the real world, I do advise getting that game if you've got a Nintendo Switch. Personally, if you do not see me for the next 2 weeks, I will have been whisked away to an island escape by Tom Nook. Doom also comes out though, so if you need a game to slay demons and test your hardware, Doom is your game because, again, it looks like it's gonna be awesome. And it's going to run pretty well on just about any hardware. Horizon Zero Dawn is coming to the PC. Now this is really weird because Guerrilla Games is a Sony exclusive studio, meaning they are porting their game to PC, much like how Quantic Dream did, and Quantum Dream actually just became independent. So that begs the question, is Guerrilla Games escaping, or is Sony actually going to be pushing a PC presence in the future in order to make their own platform more appealing? I mean, Xbox is already doing this. You can actually play a number of games between Xbox and the PC. Amnesia is getting a new game, and this game is actually made by the original developers. The original Amnesia launched the YouTube Let's Play genre into like the behemoth that it became. And so it's actually nice to see that we're gonna get a new game in the series created by the original developers, as Machine for Pigs was not nearly as good as the original, nor was it nearly as covered by the Let's Play community. And then finally, let's kind of talk about something a little interesting. Reggie Fils-Aimé is joining the GameStop team. That's right, the same company that's in the process of trying to survive is now going to have My Body Is Ready Reggie. Now, I do wonder if he's going to be able to help them course correct, and if he does, will we actually see a return to a good GameStop? I'm personally hoping that they do recover, not because I hate GameStop and I want to see them die, but rather because I care for my local GameStop and the people who actually work there. Personally, I am good friends with a lot of the people who are running that store, and they've been running that store since I have been able to buy video games for myself. It's the craziest thing that these same employees have been working for this same company forever. But unfortunately, I've seen the creep that is invasive sales practices, them pushing warranties, pre-orders much harder than normal. And realistically, what GameStop might want to do to survive is actually cut that back, get a good, like, actual customer experience going again. Like, I come in, I can buy a game, or maybe I can come in and try a game, then buy a game. Anything but their current model will help them, essentially. So let's hope Reggie can bring the fun into GameStop, and yeah, essentially let's see if we can get a good GameStop out of this. All right, well, that's all from me this week. It's actually been kind of a slow-ish news week for the last 2 weeks, but we can thank human malware for that. So Thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed watching this video, you can leave a like, comment, subscribe. I do content every week, just like this, twice a week. So thank you guys again. Wolfie out.